Alright, now we're going to lift the top off this. Get all the bolts out of it. Like I said, just be sure you got them all out, because you shouldn't have to sit here and pry on one of these to get the air horn off of it. And the choke rod comes up right here. You'll have to finagle this out just a little bit because we're not ready to take that off yet. And you got that disconnected, so what you want to do is you need to be selective about where you pry up on this. You just want to break it loose here. So I usually go back under the side over here on the choke housing, because you don't want to be ramming your screwdriver obviously in where there's a sealing surface. It's not a good idea, guys, so don't do that. Just put it up here. Sometimes they're a little stubborn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my plastic edge right there. I put my plastic handle under there, and I'm just going to kind of tap here. There we go. Now, when you take the lid off one of these, there's a couple things going on here at the same time you need to be aware of. First thing is, this is the end of your accelerator pump right here, and you're gonna kind of pick this air horn up off of it, so it's gonna be staying down there. Needs to. And then you need to, like I said, finagle this little choke rod out, because you can't. It's too hard to take this off right away. So I'll show you what we're gonna do there. So just ease it up, and take your. And this gasket's kind of stuck on here, so sometimes they don't. The gasket really, for right now, you need to try to keep it on the body of the carburetor, not on the air horn, because there's a reason for that, and I'll show you what it is. Now you just kind of, alright, put the gasket off there. And you can turn and get that off of that thing. There's your air horn. Oh, here's a famous problem I've showed you guys before in my Debug Your Quadrajet video. I found another one. There's a secondary pickup right here. You see that? These are your secondary metering rods. This is air bleed. And look at that. You see one's missing. So it's probably laying down in here, and there it is. Right here. Now, you'll know that. You'll know when that happens, because when you try to kick in the 4 barrels, you try to jam on it, it's going to have a hard bog on it. I mean, a bog that's just, you can't hardly get around at all. It's just going to go boo, 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 you know. I mean, I'm not talking about like this little whoop, whoop type thing. I'm talking about it just won't go. And it's pretty bad when one of them's out. And if they both fall out, you can't even run it on the secondary. It just will not take it, because there's no gas flowing. So these, we'll have to be sure we put these back in and fix that. It's a common problem, guys. It really makes it run pretty badly. It's one of these things that get a bad reputation. People see that happen and they're gonna blame it. So, which, you know, that's a problem. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. Okay, now we got a couple other things going on here. I see something else wrong with this carburetor, I think. This is your gasket, your air horn gasket. And you don't have to try to save this. Try to keep it in one piece you can. You need to compare it to your new one. Use the right one. This one, see how brittle this one was? Now, you can kind of just lift it over that accelerator pump. See, it just sits in there. It's got a spring on it. But it looks like this. This is kind of a screwy design right here. This is your power piston. It's got your primary metering rods in it, and this gasket kind of goes around and under it in a fashion. So we're going to end up just pulling that thing straight out, and that's it. But when you put this back in, you kind of got to finagle the gasket around it so you don't have it hung up. And I'll show you how it's supposed to be. It's got like a little cutout. We can go ahead and just carefully break that gasket apart and just take this thing. Now, you need to be easy with this thing. This thing's kind of fragile. But just take it out and put it to the side somewhere. Now, you got a couple springs in here, but it's not easy to confuse them. This accelerator pump comes right out, and then you got a little spring here under it. So, counting the fuel pump spring, the fuel filter spring, you're going to have 3 springs. But just try to keep in mind what you have there. Keep it straight, and don't throw this thing away. You got to reuse this in most cases. So keep that. Don't put anything rubber in the cleaning solution. And okay. And you got a little spring under the power piston. Oops. There it is there. Let's take that out. Once you do a few of these, it's a piece of cake. You know exactly what's what. This is just your little phenolic plastic insert that goes into the float bowl. Alright, the next thing you're going to do, guys, is we're going to take the float out, and the inlet needle and seat floats right here, and it just simply comes up. It's got a little hanger, little pivot pin of a thing. It just slips in place, and that's that little thing wiggling around right there. That's your inlet needle valve. It just drops in place, and this thing, it's got a little way it's made. When this float raises up, it pushes that thing down. It's on a fulcrum, so they just hang on there. It's got a little clip up there, and you don't usually keep these. I usually hang on to this stuff just to kind of for some spare parts, but it's not always necessary. You'll get a new inlet. This is your float. This is one of these plastic floats. I've got a name for this material which escapes me at the moment. But be careful of this. Try not to bend this, because lots of times if it's a factory carburetor that's never been apart, the floats can be the right height. So we'll check it, but just put that to the side there. Alright. Now, I have to suck some gas out of here. Well, this thing did have some gas in it. Outside. That's good though. Like I said, I'd rather have gas. Good fresh gas, and not have any, or have water or something else in here that we don't want. So I'm just soaking this gas out because I gotta turn this thing up here in a minute. So bear with me. Now you may wonder, you see this little chamber right here, doesn't have anything in it. Some of these have like a little plastic cup in it, but it's nothing. What it is some of these carburetors have like another auxiliary accelerator pump in them, and it would go right here, but this one doesn't. And most of them you'll see won't either. Get that soaked down, boy. It's way down in there, isn't it? Come on. Okay. Try this one more time here. I'll show you there's a method to my madness. What I'm doing here with this, while I'm going to this trouble. Okay. What you do now is, you take a flat blade screwdriver, and your inlet needle, your inlet seat is right here. You can see that, it's right here, it screws in. Brass piece. So all you have to do is take that off too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, it's got 2 slots on it. You just put your screwdriver on one side of it, just twist, and it unscrews. And like I said, unless you're on just like a total budget rebuild, which I won't suggest doing, you won't reuse this. See, this is what it looks like here. And always remember, it's got a metal rubber clad washer under it. Be sure you put that back in when you reassemble the thing on the new seat. There's nothing below it. And right here where my screwdriver is, can you see that? Right here there's a screw, Phillips flat blade screw head right here. This is just a little screw in type deal. And it's not real easy to get out either once you get it loosened, so you gotta kind of finagle this up here with a couple screwdrivers. Oops, almost had it. Uh-oh. Well, just want to do this then. Be judicious on your use of these things. You don't want to mess any surfaces up. Be kind of light with it. Anyway, all this is the bolt that goes over. It's called the accelerator pump discharge check ball, and it's right down in that hole there. So usually they give you a new one, but you need to go ahead and take it out. But you can wait for a little bit. Just don't lose it. Try not to lose it. And it'll just fall right out of that hole. When you turn the carburetor up, it'll just roll out. So, all right, what I'm gonna do now is, how many minutes I have on this? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and separate this one in another video. So I'll cut it off here. I'll be right back.